an agent right now who's maybe just starting out, or maybe they're a veteran agent that has got to kickstart their business, like how much of the time should they put into generating a buzz? I'm going back a little bit to that marketing versus sales, and doing the sales, doing the deals. What's the balance for an agent right now trying to figure that out?
I mean, it's funny because I've watched like all these little reels and things that agents are doing all over. And I'll look at little agents that are in Utah or Idaho and they have 100,000 followers and they sell 12 million a year.
Yeah.
There's a
ton of those agents, by the way.
And it's like,
tons.
I think there's something to be said for that because it's bringing exposure to get them more business in their marketplaces. But I do think that our focus has been, we create content to activate buyers on our properties, not on me.
Yeah.
Right. And we've done that very successfully, but it's very expensive because not only when you create, and I think that people are starting to be able to duplicate and create films like we can create. If you're a true film person, like nobody is filming on red cameras. Nobody has a crew or has the background that I have with my partner.
The equipment, I can speak to it, that you have in here is probably no agent in the country has equipment to this level.
Right. And so it's like we pride ourselves on that, but we also have long-term goals in film that we're going to do. And I think this is just a side note. So watch out for the next few years. Now that the world knows about Newport Beach, we're going to create some films that aren't films for real estate in Newport Beach that the market's ready for.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that this plays like a side role, but I do think that like we've always been into film. For even before I met my partner, Chris, on this, I was up in helicopters getting film crews from LA 12, 15 years ago, flying over houses. Cause I'm like, dude, this is the future. People want to be able to
before drones.
Yeah. We were in helicopters. Like that was like, and these films took 8 to 10 weeks to create when the seller wants the listing on tomorrow. So there was always this conflict. But I do think I could probably learn from some of those Utah or Idaho agents to build a brand, because the more eyeballs on me, the more eyeballs on the property. And I think that's something that we're focused on now. We just haven't been focused on. But I do think you need to use the channels of not just creating. There's a lot of ways to distribute the content, geographic, digital strategies to get to buyers that are like in the path of migration to these places. Like I think there's a lot more back end, a business side of it that actually can show you that it's worth the money to spend, right?
Yeah, so many agents right now are caught up in like the Gary V messaging of, I'm going to build this personal brand and let that personal brand funnel into my business. You're like, no, I'm going to create these listing videos and this content to help me get the next listing. So how does Tim Smith on the next listing appointment talk about that with a seller and get them to actually sign the listing agreement? Because you said something yesterday, like, hey, we're in the business of listing appointments and getting contracts signed. So how does Tim Smith get the contract signed, and explaining what the content side can do to help them get their home sold at a record price?
So the good news about that is, when we first started creating films, I don't think they sold the house. I think they sold the sellers. Mm-hmm. But now we've realized that they actually can sell the house if you can distribute it accurately, right?
So walk me through the distribution of the video if I'm the seller.
Okay, so we'll go back to Teach Me How to Duffy Film. When I listed that, it was so funny because at that time there had never been a home on the bay, especially in that location, anywhere in the realm of that price. And so we got so much pushback. I think I still have a couple of voicemails from sellers or buyers that called me that are just like, you'll never fucking get that, blah, blah. Like, I don't even know why they wouldn't want me to get it, right? But anyway, when we started,
right?
Yeah, like why wouldn't you want me to get it? When we started, we realized, okay, nobody local is going to support us, right? So what can we do with this? So we started using a digital strategy called geofencing. We were geofencing all of the private jet centers on the Western United States, right? Now, what does that mean? That means if you have your phone, and keep in mind, this was 2017, 2018, technology has really advanced since then, right?
Sure.
But to give you like the whole case data, the first 3 months on the market, I had 5 or 6 verbal and written offers up to 25, 26 million, right? We were listed at 45. We weren't expecting to get 45. We wanted to shock the market with that. Our hopes was to get in the mid to high 30s. And we talked this through with the seller. So this was expectations set.